All right, hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We're going to do your weekly weather outlook today a little bit earlier. Typically, I try to do these every Friday around 10 a.m., but today we have one of our reporters doing some interviews in studio. So we're going to do this a little bit earlier today. Good morning, Deanna. Good morning, Crystal. As always, just going to wait just a second to get a couple more people on. The main topic we're going to talk about today is the heat. It's going to be so hot today, this whole weekend, and so we're going to talk about that. Hey, Seth. So we're live on WMEB. Good morning, Maria. And we are also live on my Facebook page. So as always, if you have any questions throughout this all, feel free to post them. Be happy to answer those. And it looks like we have a decent amount of people. Good morning, Ronnie. Carla watching from Winter Haven. Okay, we're going to get going. All right, so first of all, I wanted to show you this national temperature graphic because a very, very strong ridge of high pressure is setting up out west. So I wanted to show you this all morning long. I've been showing this just because I want you to know it's not just us that's dealing with the heat. In fact, the pattern across the U.S. has a favorable above average trend for almost the entire southern portion of the country. So Panama City already at 86 degrees. Our dew point this morning is sitting at 80 degrees. So it is very, very humid out this morning. Dew point is that temperature it would have to be for saturation to occur. So the higher that dew point gets, the more muggy it's feeling, and you can feel it. You felt it yesterday. Today, we actually have a heat advisory in effect. I'll show you what counties. 86 already in Houston. Phoenix already sitting at 91. So this is the 500 millibars. This is from GFS. It's the American model. And this is in the mid-levels of the atmosphere where you see that high pressure set up very, very persistent over the next couple of days over the western half of the country. If you creep into the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast where we have tropical storm Faye continuing to hug really close to the east coastline there, that's associated with a trough of low pressure over there. So you are also going to see some pretty drastic temperatures in the desert southwest as well as the deep south. The only area that's really actually staying fairly average or is even expecting even some sort of cool down at all is going to be those areas that are dealing with the 2 to 4 inches, isolated spots up to 7 inches of rain thanks to Tropical Storm Faye. So mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, they're not right there with us, but the deep south until the weekend ends is going to be very similar to the desert southwest in terms of above average temperatures. This is all the way through Monday. You note how I took off that illustration. The ridge breaks down and we actually see high pressure set up over the Gulf as well. This will leave us by the end of the weekend. So for the entire day today, Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be extremely, extremely hot. We are going to see temperatures running well above normal, and that's not even factoring in those dew points quite yet. So once you factor in those high dew points, very high humidity, yeah, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable this weekend. Our heat index values, which is similar to wind chill in the winter, what it's actually going to feel like are going to be well into the triple digits. So 105 to 110 degrees is what it's actually going to be feeling like this afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. So by Sunday night, rain chances are rather seasonal this afternoon. Working with the sea breeze, we had some land breeze showers and thunderstorms early this morning in Franklin County, some thunderstorm activity in Carabel. But we aren't going to stay all too unsettled this weekend. That's why I really do want to focus on the heat. We do see that weak cold front approaching Sunday night. So Monday, Tuesday, expect those rain chances to be ramped up again. And again, if you have any questions throughout this, feel free. Crystal saying drink plenty of water. Yes, please stay hydrated. I do want to touch base with why heat is something to be taken seriously. So often we talk about the tropics, we talk about severe weather, the nasty tornado that just tore through Minnesota, northwest of Minneapolis on Wednesday night. Yes, there's so many severe weather events, but heat In my opinion, sometimes people just don't take it seriously, but it's honestly extremely threatening as well. All right, watches and warnings. This is what I wanted to show you. So portions of the Sunshine State, we have most of the Panhandle under a heat advisory today. It expires at 7 tonight if you live out east. However, that's just for the evening hours. We're likely going to have another heat advisory pop up tomorrow, likely another one for Sunday as well. All of those oranges you're seeing on the national graphic right now, from Oklahoma City to Dallas, Houston, El Paso, even portions of California, that's a big portion of the country, especially in the southern half, that is also right there with us under those heat advisories. That just means slightly different qualifications dependent on what region. But for us, it means those heat index values. So what it's actually going to be feeling like well into the triple digits, and it's going to be a warning for you to limit time outside, stay hydrated, obviously never leaving pets, children in cars, things like that. When you see the pinks over by Tucson, Las Vegas, generally the San Diego area, that's an excessive heat warning. We saw how Phoenix was already at 91 degrees. Their temperature's getting closer to 110, 115 for true temperatures, but again, they don't have to deal with the high humidity. So this is a closer look at what we're dealing with today. Through the weekend, again, expect something similar. Walton County, Washington County, and Holmes County excluded from the heat advisory today. That doesn't mean it's not going to be extremely warm, but that heat advisory, those qualifications, really in effect for Bay County, Jackson, Calhoun, Liberty Gulf, and Franklin. So if you are in these counties, it is expiring at 7 tonight. But if you have to work outside, if you are going to be outside, really, if you can try to limit that outdoor activity. We also have an extreme UV index at 12 today. It's just going to be a really, really hot weekend as well. So I did want to break down on the national temperature graphic. We saw how this morning, Panama City area, we are already into the 80s. It's the mid 80s, but our dew point temperature is 80 degrees. For Phoenix, Arizona, they were already into the 90s this morning, but their humidity is so much lower. So why are they also kind of right there with us with that excessive heat warning, and we get a heat warning? So it all kind of comes down to, you can either get a heat warning if you live in an area where temperatures are extremely high, but even if you have kind of relatively low humidity, or you can live in an area like Florida where temperatures are still high, not as high, but you have extremely high humidity. And the human body actually reacts differently in different humidity. So the environment actually does play a role, and that's why we talk about heat index values. So we say, oh, it's going to feel like triple digits. And then you're thinking, but it's not actually triple digits. So how's that possible? Well, the drier air allows the moisture to evaporate. So quite literally, when you sweat in places like Arizona, even California, you're not as uncomfortable, even if it's the same temperature outside, if humidity is lower, because you're able to sweat and that evaporates at a faster rate. Whereas if you live in somewhere like Florida, you're no stranger to the humidity. In a very subtropical climate, we have moist air, and the human body is you're still sweating. It's just evaporating at a much slower rate. And so because of that, it's very uncomfortable, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's why we talk about heat index values, similar to in winter when your body reacts differently to wind chill. That's when you have breezy conditions, so it can be cold, but then if you have winds that are sustained at 20 to 25 miles per hour, it's going to feel so much colder to the human body. So this is just one graphic I wanted to show. This is an example of air temperature at 92 degrees and how it'll feel differently to the human body dependent on the environment you are in. So this is actually something that is very realistic and practical for today, because temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s. If you live inland, we're talking more about the mid to upper 90s. So please stay hydrated the next couple of days. This is a graphic where you can see relative humidity on the bottom there, and then heat index values right there. So what we're talking about is relative humidity close to around right now 77% already this morning. So let's just say in the 70 to 75% range. So at 70% humidity, even if it's 92 degrees outside, it's feeling closer to around 110 there on this graphic. So it will be feeling close to the triple digits at times, if not 105, 110, especially as we head into tomorrow and into Sunday. Pattern doesn't really change all too much. So this is why we have that heat advisory. It's why we'll probably get another one Saturday and Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if an isolated inland spot just briefly tapped into triple digits, as in true temperatures, not just feels like. So this is just one last graphic I wanted to show. Again, we talk about all those severe weather threats. We talk about the tropics, but heat, something that it literally can be deadly. So these are just some tips. Obviously, this is a no-go any time of the year, but never leave pets, never leave kids inside a parked vehicle. If the surface is too hot for you, it's too hot for the pets. So if you can maybe take the pets for a walk, maybe really early in the morning or really, really late at night, that can be kind of damaging to their paws. Reduce strenuous activity. Obviously, some people have to work outside. If you are one of those people that has to work outside, just bring the extra water. You will absolutely need it. Stay hydrated. If you want to limit your time outdoors, would highly recommend find shade, stay in AC, crank the AC, and then because of albedo, wear lightweight, light colored clothing. So you will feel a little bit more comfortable if you're wearing pastel colors, whites instead of blacks. Again, that's because we're dealing with a very humid environment on top of what is already going to be temperatures running a little bit above average this weekend. Okay, this is the last graphic I had prepped, and then I'm going to also double check questions. But this is just one last look at the weekend forecast. If you missed what I was talking about today, we are under a heat advisory already today for most the Panhandle, including portions down south like Miami. Tampa had a heat advisory yesterday, so many areas dealing with this right there with us. The mid-90s today, upper 90s for tomorrow, 98 for Sunday. Some of the highest temperatures of the season so far. And Crystal asking, how long is the heat wave going to last? So again, we're probably going to have a heat advisory every day until, I would say, Monday. I think some counties will still be in a heat advisory Monday. That's based on the National Weather Service. Most of our models keep heat index values at 105 to 110. So until that weekends, we're still going to have these heat advisories. Unfortunately, even for the next 7 days, the 90s every single day. The good news is not as high, so not necessarily the upper 90s, and those, we're really focused on the humidity because that's what makes all the difference. We really will keep rain chances ramped up with a cold front that tries to dig in Sunday night, so we'll at least have relief in form of some rain chances by Monday, Tuesday. I would say this weekend is when you're going to see the worst of it. So obviously, you know, it is the weekend, people probably wanting to get outside. Just make sure you're prepped if you want to do that. And I'm just going to double check questions one more time before I hop off of here. As always, we have midday at 11 a.m. where I'll be talking more about this. And you can always post more questions after. And I'd be happy to go back and look at those and answer them later as well. All right, and we just got that update in. So heat advisory now in effect for the entire Panhandle. Gary Glover saying heat advisory just issued for Washington County now too. Yes, so one last look at our watches and warnings today, and I do want to zoom out just so you can see the scope of this. Was starting off earlier this morning, Walton County, Holmes County, and Washington counties were excluded from this. National Weather Service now getting on board saying the entire Panhandle under that heat advisory. And as I zoom on out here, you can really see the scope of that. So it's the entire Panhandle now, back through Mississippi, southern Arkansas, Louisiana, into eastern Texas, Oklahoma, all the way to New Mexico, and Nevada and Utah. So lots of people dealing with the heat today. Yes, please just use caution this weekend. And I don't see any other questions as of right now. But again, I'll go back and check. All right, everyone, have a safe weekend. Continue to stay updated with those warnings. Again, I think the worst of it will just be this weekend, and then we'll have not necessarily drastic relief, but some relief by Monday, Tuesday in terms of rain, and then we'll slowly see a pattern change. All right, everyone, have a wonderful Friday. I'll see you either at midday or same time next week.